Magpabakuna na para abanse ka. Ini ang inyo gobernador, Bong Lacson, nagahinyo sa tanan nga Negrense, nga magpabakuna na.
If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Huwag magpabiktima. Baka makompromiso lang ang privacy mo.
OMG! Nanalo ko ng BMW! Pero wala naman akong sinalihan eh.
Hi sir! Pa-fill up naman po ng online form namin with free gifts.
Yes, ako yun.
Sir, your 5 million peso loan has been approved. I need to verify your full name, address, and birth date.
My full name is...
Huwag magpabiktima sa mga modus na ganito. Ang personal information na ibinibigay mo ay maaaring magamit ng labag sa iyo. That is why privacy matters. Kakampi mo ang National Privacy Commission. Protektahan ang iyong right to privacy. Piliin ang pagkakatiwalaan ng personal information mo.
Can you do a research on this? I need it by the end of the day.
Okay, boss. So where should I start? Psst. Remember, only visit safe and trustworthy websites when searching online.
Isang paalala mula sa National Privacy Commission.
Grabe. Pagod na naman sa trabaho. Ha? Uy! Ngayon nga pala yun. Nasaan na cellphone ko? Ito. Flaming Thrones? Latest episode. Ba't ganun? Ang dami naman play button ito. Ha? Psst! Tandaan, beware of sites that could lead you to malware. Isang paalala mula sa National Privacy Commission.
No, would you believe may naloloko pa rin ito? Minsan ang teknolohiya, hindi puro happy at lucky lang. Pag nakompromiso ang iyong personal information at privacy, maaari itong makasama sa ating finances, ekonomiya, social life, love life at iba pa. Halimbawa, pagbukas mo ng email mo, daming messages na nag-o-offer. Di mo naman knows. Daming stalker ah. Ganito kasi yan, bes. Nag-post ka sa social media. Nag-register ka sa isang event. Hiningi nila yung personal information mo. Dahil excited ka at libre, binigay mo naman. Yung personal info mo, minsan, pinapasa ito para sa profiling o direct marketing. Buti ganyan lang. Paano kung ganito? Shocking, no? Pero don't stress yourself dahil meron na tayong batas dyan. National Privacy Commission ang kakampi mo sa iyong right to privacy. Life goal natin, ang maayos at secure na processing ng personal information mo. Know your rights, bes. You have the right to be informed, right to object, right to access, right to rectification, right to erasure or blocking, right to damages, right to data portability, at right to file a complaint. Maaari mo itong ipadala sa complaints@privacy.gov.ph. Kung may iba ka pang katanungan, ipadala sa info@privacy.gov.ph. Galing, di ba? At kung may magkakasala, National Privacy Commission din ang kakampi mo. At may kaparusahan sa paglabag ng right to privacy mo. Bes, ikaw lang ang pwedeng magsabi kung kanino ka magtitiwala. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng privacy. Visit www.privacy.gov.ph.
Ako si Bayani ang Bayani. Rest back sa COVID. Magpabakuna na para sigurado.
Talaga? Let me check. Grant access to my location? Okay. Pati email address? Remember, be careful in downloading and granting permission to mobile applications, lalo na sa location mo. Isang paalala mula sa National Privacy Commission.
Hello, ako si Billy Crawford. Bakunado ako. Ikaw yan. Saan o ka pa? Magpabakuna na para abanse ka.
Kanina, tinawag na naman ako ni Miss Martin. Kasi ang ingay ko daw. Guys, ang hirap naman ng fraction homework ko.
Sige nga, madali lang yan.
May recital kami kaya ang daming practice.
Tatampo na nga ako sa'yo kasi hindi na tayo halos nakakapag-usap eh.
Naman eh.
Siguro, ikaw ang star doon, ano? Ano costume mo? Pakita naman.
Nahihiya ako eh.
Sige na. Please.
Well, dinner's ready.
Sige po, Dad. Susunod na po ako.
Hi! This is Waki Kiray. Bakunado na ako. Ikaw, ya? San o ka pa? Magpabakuna na para abansik ka. Ganang.
I really about the necessary personal information. Isang paalala mula sa National Privacy Commission.
Ako po si Jeffrey Lam, rest back sa COVID. Aba, magpabakuna na para sigurado ka, sigurado ako, sigurado siya, sigurado kayo, sigurado sila, sigurado tayong lahat. Magpabakuna na.
If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Huwag magpabiktima. Baka makompromiso lang ang privacy mo.
OMG! Nanalo ko ng BMW! Pero wala naman akong sinalihan eh.
Hi sir! Pa-fill up naman po ng online form namin with free gifts.
Yes, ako yun.
Sir, your 5 million peso loan has been approved. I need to verify your full name, address, and birth date.
My full name is...
Huwag magpabiktima sa mga modus na ganito. Ang personal information na ibinibigay mo ay maaaring magamit ng labag sa iyo. That is why privacy matters. Kakampi mo ang National Privacy Commission. Protektahan ang iyong right to privacy. Piliin ang pagkakatiwalaan ng personal information mo.
Besh, nakabakuna ka na? Amligan ang ikaayong lawas, magpabakuna na para abanse ka.
Uy, Isa! Nakita mo na ba yung bagong launch ng pineapple laptop?
Hindi pa, patingin nga. Wow, ang ganda niya na. I really have to buy that one. But wait, what? $2,000 for that?
I know.
Ayokong mahal.
Check mo na lang sa ibang reseller. I'm sure may mas cheap pa.
Ito. This is way cheaper, right? Pwede na. Teka, isn't it too much for a single transaction? I might get scammed. Psst. Remember, for every transaction, only give out the necessary personal information. Isang paalala mula sa National Privacy Commission.
Ako si Bayani ang Bayani. Rest back sa COVID. Magpabakuna na para sigurado.
Technology is reshaping our lives. It dramatically changed the way we live, the way we learn, the way we work, and the way we communicate. Technology has tremendous potential to connect us with one another. But there are still people who remain unreached, disconnected, and deprived of digital opportunities. Tech4ED centers serve as hubs that enable skills training and job opportunities.
We have more than 4,000 registered users, and about 67% are women, and majority composed of students as our beneficiaries. And why women? Because we are gender responsive, so all our programs are aligned with the gender and development program of our province.
Na tutunan ko yung ibang skills na dapat sa ibang schools na dapat 4 years dapat maano mo lang dito ng mabilisan ng mga months, mga 3 months, makakuha mo lang agad, tapos maka-work agad.
This program helped me by finding a job and, of course, gaining more confidence as well. I was able to gain knowledge about the BPOs, on how does the environment work, and how am I going to interact with my future customers.
As of now, as I was the call center agent, so I see that difference because as of now I'm earning more than I have earned before as a tricycle driver.
Magandang araw and welcome to NOLITC's Gender and Development Webinar. Today, we are celebrating the World AIDS Day to raise awareness about the disease, encourage people to get tested, and promote healthy practices. Happy World AIDS Day to all. Welcome to the month of December. Our learning session for today is about safe space, and we are streaming live over YouTube and Facebook. The GAD Webinars is another pioneering project of NOLITC Tech4ED Center that aims to provide relevant ICT-enabled services and content to unserved and underserved communities. We are immensely happy that you took time off your busy schedules to join us today. My name is Ms. Red Lorende, and I will be serving as your host. Please post your greetings in the comments section. Let us know where you're joining us from. We would love to know. Before we start our webinar for this afternoon, let's begin with a prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and the Negros hymn.
Noon pa man, malaki na ang naging bahagi ng mga kababaihan sa lipunang Pilipino. Kaisa sila sa marubdob na paghahangad ng kalayaan ng ating lahi. Kabilang sila sa paglinang ng ating makulay na sining at mayamang kultura. Kasapi sila sa pagtataguyod ng mga adhikain ng kapwa mamamayan at sa pagtugon sa mga pangangailangan ng lipunan. Katuwang sila sa pagtuklas sa mga larangan ng agham at medisina. Kapanalig sila sa pagpapairal ng batas, karapatan at katarungan para sa lahat. Kabahagi sila sa paglilingkod sa bayan at sa pagpapanatili ng demokrasyang Pilipino. Sa paglipas ng panahon, hindi nagmaliw ang kanilang pag-ibig sa ating inang bayan. Mga kababayan, ito ang alay ng mga kababaihang Pilipino para sa bayan. Tumayo po tayong lahat at sabay-sabay nating awitin ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Pag-ibig, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dilim mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, dulatan ng pag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka masisingil, sa natatang tulog, sa singil at sa lalim mong babang, naginanang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng patawad mo'y tagumpay na nagliligid, ang bituin at araw na pamalimaginig, lumalang araw ng 100% buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na pag ay makakamit, ang mga ray ng dahil sa'yo.
O labing makagagahom nga amay namon sa langit. Mahinuklugon nga laon nga tagtugas ang langit, hangin, kalayo, tubig kag duta. Tanda ining imong timawa, kabay ining pag-ampo, magadulot sa amon sang kabuhi nga himaya. Salamat sa mga bugay nga imo ginpaambit sa amon. Salamat sa kabuhi nga ginadulot mo sa amon nga himpit. Salamat sa maayo nga panahon kag ilabi na gid sang imo katutom sa amon. Bendisyone ang imo katawhan. Bendisyone ang ila mga palangabuhian. Bendisyone ang mga panggas sa amon mga talamnan. Bendisyone ang ilang nga paglugayawan sa iban nga kapungsuran. Kabay makalabot sila nga walay sablag sa ila pagapadulungan. Kag ila binagid, bendisyone ining isla sang Negros nga amon natawhan. Ginahalad namon ang ining pag-ampo para sa imo kadayawan.
Thank you. Greetings to our participants from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and to the other parts of the world. Thank you for joining us today. We will tackle about understanding of safe spaces. Right, so this talk is so important. This year, GAD Talks goes virtual with a series of webinars. Recently, the center has pivoted to online training and conducted various in-demand webinars. This is our urgent and most accessible response to the ongoing global health crisis through providing relevant services and facilitating digital inclusiveness of communities. In 2020, NOLITC made a milestone when PhilSecNet awarded the center with Pandemic Resilience Award for its support to students and teachers category. We are also recognized nationally as outstanding Tech4ED Center by the Department of Information and Communications Technology. This year, the three programs of NOLITC are recognized with STAR Awards by TESDA, namely 2-star award in our Contact Center Services NC2, another 2-star awards in our Visual Graphic Design NC3, and 1-star award in our 2D Animation NC3 program. The star rating systems recognizes the accomplishments, innovations, and improvements that the center has instituted beyond the minimum requirements set by TESDA. The Learning Center is one of the priority programs of Governor Eugenio Sebong Lacson under his 7-point priority agenda, Avance Negrense. NOLIC also offers various scholarships for our free online training, TESDA certified courses, and other special programs through the Negros Occidental Training for Work Scholarship Program with support of our Provincial Gender and Development Focal Point System. If you want to know more about our scholarship opportunities, visit our website. That's www.nolitc.gov. These webinars are absolutely free. That's right. To join, all you need to do is to register once and you will be given access to the entire webinar. So you don't need to register again. That is one time only. Let me also remind you to fill out the online attendance right now. The link to the online attendance is pinned in the description box and in the comments section below. I will be giving you time to do that. So I hope you are doing your online attendance right now. Again, please, you may also scan the QR code flashed on your screen. We will not be able to catch up with all of your comments. So if you have any questions, please post them in the open forum form. To participate in the open forum, you will need to post your questions through an online open forum form. Right? Please find the link in the description bar as well, or you may scan the QR code flashed on your screen. Again, the link to the open forum can be found in the description box below. The moderator will bring them up towards the end of the presentation. For those of you who are asking, you will also be receiving a certificate for attending this webinar online. You only need to accomplish both the online evaluation, all right, again, that can be found in the description box below, and complete the attendance and the evaluation. I hope you're all catching up with me with some of our opening reminders. Let's greet one another in the chat box. A pleasant afternoon and hashtag World AIDS Day. If you have not seen our previous posts yet, you can always check out our social media accounts and follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Allow me to greet our virtual audience. Good afternoon to Miss Luisa Garcia Tutor. Thank you for joining us. We have also here faculty, I guess, from the Pontevedra National High School District of Pontevedra. Maayong hapon sa tanan nga mga teachers, faculty, and staff, and students as well of Pontevedra National High School. And yes, hello to Sir Jason Senolim. Yeah, please complete this webinar together with your attendance and your evaluation to get the certificate. Hello as well to Melchor Velasco, watching from Schools Division Office of San Carlos City, Negros Occidental. Wow, that's very complete with Western Visayas Don Juan Ledesma Elementary School. Good afternoon to the teachers, staff, and students. We have here again Miss Micah Romero Repeal. Yes, good afternoon. And we also have here, yes, Vincent. Yes, hi, Cram Montano. Thank you for watching. We have here as well Sir Isidore Tagnia, watching from Benicuil National High School, Schools Division Office of Cabangcalan City. And good afternoon to all of you there from Cabangcalan City. Thank you for joining us. All right. So please, again, general reminder to do your online attendance right now and follow us on our social media accounts in Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. To kickstart today's webinar, allow me to introduce to you our moderator for this learning session, who will also be introducing our resource speaker. Our moderator is a vocational school administrator and Tech4ED Center Manager of NOLITC. Through her exceptional leadership, the center was given national awards from TESDA, DICD, and other government agencies because of its best practices and quality programs and services. NOLITC Tech4ED Center was also recognized by DICD as the Center of Excellence. Prior to her experience or work as an educator, she's also a media practitioner for 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a glad hand to NOLITC's Vocational School Administrator and Tech4ED Center Manager, Dr. Maria Cristina Orbicido.
Thank you, Ms. Red, for that warm introduction. Hello and good afternoon to all our viewers in Facebook and in YouTube. Welcome to the kick-off webinar in observance of the 18 Days Campaign Against VAW, or Violence Against Women. Today is also World HIV/AIDS Day, or Awareness Day. And what a good day to start December. This afternoon, we will talk about Safe Spaces Act, or RA 11313. The Safe Spaces Act is also the theme of this year's 18-day campaign for VAWC in celebration of the activism of women. And it's very timely that we will have a deep understanding of the salient points of this legislation.
For this module, you will learn about the provisions of the Safe Spaces Act, discuss about gender-based harassment in public places, educational institutions, and online space. And lastly, know the penalties for violating this legislation. Without much ado, let's get to know our resource speaker. She holds an MA in Women and Development from the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She is the Advocacy Officer of Women Engaged in Action on UN Security Council Resolution 1325 for its Women's Empowerment for Leadership in Development and Peace in Bansang Moro Project. She is a consultant for several gender and peace projects of various institutions such as UP Center for Women and Gender Studies, UN Women, and Oxfam Philippines, to mention just a few. Our speaker is the co-founder of Young Feminist Collective and a second-generation member of Filipina, the country's oldest feminist organization. She is also a professional fellow for civic engagement of the Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative, sponsored by the U.S. State Department and the Harpswell Asian Program in Women's Leadership. She has been working in the field of civic engagement and women and youth activism for the past 5 years. She co-authored the following publications: Philippine NGO Beijing Plus 25 Report, chapter on Women and Armed Conflict, Women and the Duterte Anti-Drug Carnage, Grieving, Healing, Breaking Through. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome with our virtual applause, Dawn Marie Pavillar Castro.
Good afternoon, Miss Tina. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And good afternoon sa tanan or sa lahat na nakikinig sa buong Pilipinas and also in the whole world. No? So, congrats NOLITC for this very wide reach sa program ninyo na webinar na ito. No?
It's nice to have you back, Demi, and we are all excited to listen to your presentation. Yes, you may now take the floor.
Okay, so as Ms. Tina has mentioned, no, we are celebrating the 18-day campaign to end VAWC, and it is very timely that we talk about the Safe Spaces Act. And I would like to congratulate the province of Negros Occidental for being the first province in the whole Philippines to localize or to have their own ordinance in relation to the Safe Spaces Act. So I will start my presentation. And before we dive into the specifics of Safe Spaces Act, I think it's important na we look at the background first. So what is this sexual harassment or gender-based sexual harassment that we mean or we talk about? So yung sexual harassment, it happens every day, everywhere, and to everyone. So compare mo na siya to the common cold, no? Though virus na siya, kumbaga, very apt sa pandemic. But sometimes we don't realize na we are already experiencing it, or ang mga little things na bitawala lang, it is already harassment pala, and we are not aware of this. So this comes in many forms. There's sexism, power relations, may psychological factors. Of course, ang moral and cultural values sulod man da, no? So depends ano man ang situation, each case is a violation of human rights or women's rights. Unfortunately, according to statistics, 3 in 5 women have experienced sexual harassment at least once in their lifetime. And let's not look far. If you're a woman or you're a girl or you're a person of diverse soji, kung ano man soji mo, you have experienced harassment just getting from point A to point B. May manihol, may matawag, may masturya gid, may i-ano kagid, i-bother kagid, no? So this is only one form of harassment in public spaces. And 80% of women who are 18 to 24 years old have experienced sexual harassment at least once in their life. So these are sad data, no? But this is the reality that we are in now. And even with the pandemic, we have this health crisis, the COVID gani, but we are considering gender-based violence as a shadow pandemic. So even if with all these yung mga quarantine restrictions, hindi na takagwa, hindi na jutay na lang makalibot and all that, it still happens, no? And we will see later on why and how it happens. Okay, so contrary to the victim blaming mentality, instances of sexual harassment have nothing to do with how one looks or dresses. So, kis amambal silang, ay, kay kabastuson, magitubi sa iya, sagigin na siya shorts, permit siya spaghetti strap, chuchu-chuchu. It doesn't matter what you are wearing. So, even girls fully clothed or fully covered in their school uniform, even mga madre, even babies, no? So, we can't say that what you are wearing will elicit that reaction. Dapat wala na. Kay basic human decency and respect lang na tani mo nga hindi kaya magamuna towards sa ibang nga tao. So, hindi gina siya nami nga mag-victim blame kita. For example, there are cases of harassment and hambalon mo siya kisa mga pulis paningag kapukupod sa women's desk ang gamba na kaya ano bayo mo how or alas ano ka nagwa how nga nagwa-gwa ka pa kagabi na. So, these statements are called victim blaming or gaslighting. Ato pati kay imo man tugali sala or you've done something to provoke your perpetrator to attack you. When in fact, dapat hindi nayaan mo na, no? So, having or wearing all those clothes or kung ano man ang gusto mo i-wear is not an open invitation for anyone, no? So, these people should be aware that what they are doing is wrong and it is an act of harassment. Okay, so let's go to our RA 11313 or the Safe Spaces Act. So this law was passed in 2019, so 2 years ago, very recently lang. And this is closely related to the first Anti-Sexual Harassment Act or 7877. Although in 7877, sorry, typo, only persons in authority could be charged as offenders. So kung boss mo lang or someone in a higher position than you, sila lang ni siya ang makasuhan. And wala ta provisions for harassment by subordinates or mga ka-level ta lang or peers, friends, or even strangers. So, sa siniya nga kaso, ang Safe Spaces Act, anyone can be an offender. And to dwell more on that, this is a table of ang ikumparat ang duwa, no? So, during 1995, so pila na years ago, no? Ang ginaprotektahan lang sa Anti-Sexual Harassment Act is workplace and educational institution. Sa subong niya, everywhere na, almost everywhere, if not even the digital space, we have the public places, public utility vehicles, workplaces, educational institutions like schools and NOLITC is also considered an educational institution, and also online. No? So, ang victims before, specific lang to women and girls. So, kung lain ka na nga soji, if you're gay, lesbian, or transgender, hindi ka covered sa sininga law. But fortunately, very comprehensive yung Safe Spaces Act, and everyone, no matter what your soji is, you are protected or supposed to be protected by this law. Like I mentioned, our offenders are persons in authority. Sa subong niya, maskin sino, maski manghod pa na sa imo, or maski mo kilala, any person can be an offender under the Safe Spaces Act. And similar with the commission of offense, peer-to-peer, student-to-student, any person to another person. And later on, may penalties pagad na mas in-depth, no? So, fine and imprisonment. Sa new law, we have community service and gender sensitivity seminars. Okay, so what does the Safe Spaces Act cover? So, this law covers all forms of gender-based sexual harassment committed in public spaces, educational training institutions, workplace, as well as the online space. So, we understand that now in the pandemic, ang new public place or ang public space na ginahambal, nag-migrate man to online space, no? So, may work from home na ta. Pati ang harassment, well, even before the pandemic, lagid man ka katabo, lagid man niya ang harassment sa digital space or sa online space, no? So, GBSH, or gender-based sexual harassment, in street and public spaces, defined as acts which are committed through unwanted, uninvited sexual actions or remarks. So, actions or remarks na siya ha, against any person regardless of the motive for committing such action or remarks. kung i-call out, nabala sila, magbinastos sila, marason sila, ay, tika joke lang man to, di ko man tuyo ang wala mo kuya kabalo nga, amo gina-reaction niya, or wala tuyo ano, compliment lang to, tawag ko lang siya, hi miss, hi sexy, amo na, wala na. Pero if the victim or the victim survivor felt harassed, unsafe, and vulnerable, hindi mo na siya marason, or that is not a reason nga hindi iya kapag kasuhan kung gusto niya gid, no? So, regardless of your motive, pwedeng-pwede, hindi ka nagidya ka rason nga, joke mo lang to or hindi man amo na ang intention. So, perpetrators out there, you have to be very, very cautious of these comments or yeah. So, public spaces, ano ni ang ginatawag nga public spaces or public places, no? So, streets and alleys, mga dalans, roads, sidewalks, buildings, yung mga ginagawian ta, restaurants and cafes, public parks, schools and even churches, government offices, malls and public markets. Basically everywhere. Maskin diin ka. Nang gusto tagid nga maprotektahan ta maskin diin ta, no? So even the public utility vehicles, gasakay ka sa Grab, sa ano pa ba, taxi, jeep, bus. Later on, may localization niya ang province nga gin-include nila ang mga motor, mga habal-habal nga wala sa national law. And that is the beauty gani isang localization kay your LGU knows what is happening on the ground. So even theaters and spas, bars and clubs, resorts and water parks, they're all covered. Regardless of ownership, maski sino pa nagtaghiya, tani, dapat open, accessible, or offered to be accessed by the public. Kailangan protektado gid kita. So ano ni siyang mga acts nga ni nga natawag ta nga gender-based sexual harassment in public spaces. So una-una catcalling or paninikol, panihol ka, unwanted remarks, no? Misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist slurs, and also unwanted invitations. So example sa mga sexist remarks, amo ni siyang may stereotyping bala or discriminatory typically against women. So magambal ka, ang mga babae pangkama lang yan. So that is very sexist. Kay gintay mo na ang or ginbox mo na ang role sa isang babae nga dapat aralan ta siya sa bed or to fulfill your desires, ganon. So that's very sexist, no? Or even driving, muna siya mag-drive kay babae, kay babae, duma mo na bala, that's very sexist, no? So hindi matanan nga babae nga driver, hindi sagad, and hindi matanan nga lalaki nga driver sagad, no? So you can't box that. It's kind of insulting. Actually, it is insulting. And the homophobic remarks, so magambal kabi nga may ano sa imo share nga ano siya, gay siya or lesbian siya, face lang na kagi mapuna to i-disregard or invalidate mo siya as a person, no? So we shouldn't say those things. And misogynistic remarks, for example, may ara siya indicative of feeling of hating women or the belief nga men are inherently better than women. Example, no, hindi pwede maging leader ang babae kasi mahina. So, wait lang, sure, na mo na gid na, no? So, those are misogynistic remarks, no? That men are inherently better than women just because they are men. And we are weak. We are the weaker sex, kumbaga. So, transphobic remarks of sa mga trans sisters and brothers, tambala mo sila, ay, you're not a real man or you're not a real woman. Kaya mo nang create ni God. We shouldn't say those things, no? Because those are considered transphobic remarks. And also, calling someone with their dead name or ang name nila sang nabata sila when they've chosen another name. So, these are fairly new concepts that we have to learn. And ang importante lang sometimes siguro makalimtan tani or ano, ang importante is we learn about this and we try to practice as much as we can, no? Kay we understand that not everyone is open na gid niya agad or kabalo na sa mga amo nga terms. And it's important that we attend these kind of webinars to learn man. So, yun. Okay. So, ano pa? Persistent, uninvited comments or gestures on a person's appearance. Gamay mo na isang boobs mo yung mga amo na bala. Mga uninvited comments. So, kisado ka, you feel unsafe na bala nga ang body ko i-commentan gid, no? And relentless request for personal details. Well, especially now, nga magsulod ka sa isa ka store or restaurant, isulat na tanan mo nga information. Ang iban, ginakuha ang number, kag ginateksan, no? So that's not, supposedly that's not allowed, even kagina sa national privacy ng videos ta, no? That's not supposed to be happening. Also, sexual comments and suggestions, public masturbation or flashing of private parts, may mga cases na nino, kisa kaka-videohan pa gani. And any advances, whether verbal or physical, basta unwanted, and has threatened one's sense of personal space and physical safety. So, cursing, leering, or maski manulog, kabala, may term niya, ginaubahan mo siya using your eyes. So, that person feels unsafe and vulnerable. Telling of sexual jokes or use of sexual names, no? Kisado, banter lang na siya sa office, may mga mo na stories before, and uncomfortable na siya for some women, no? Also, stalking or a conduct directed at a person involving repeated visual or physical proximity. So, sagay ka palapit or ginasunod-sunod mo siya, that is what we call stalking. So, ang Safe Spaces Act bala, gin-repeal niya ang Anti-Sexual Harassment Act? The answer is no. So, the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act continues to be enforced. And some forms of sexual harassment may be punished under both. So, though 2 counts siya, pwede ka makasuhan under, may penalties ka under sexual harassment, anti-sexual harassment, and may penalties ka under safe spaces. But other forms nga not included in anti-sexual harassment, covered siya sa Safe Spaces Act. So, wala siya gina-negate sa new law ngani. For example, no, a teacher who makes unwanted and uninvited demands for sexual favors from a student may be punished under both the Safe Spaces Act and the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act. So, dun dumanta, ang ASHA, ang covered lang niya is persons in authority. So, pasok siya. So, if the demands were not unwanted or uninvited, the teacher may still be punished under ASHA. So, because lack of consent is not an element of sexual harassment under ASHA. Pwede siya gyapon makasuhan, even if both consented kay estudyante niya to. So, under Safe Spaces, under Sexual Harassment Act, pwede siya makasuhan. But if unwanted siya and uninvited, did not come from the teacher naman, but from a fellow student, pwede siya ma-punish under Safe Spaces Act kay covered ang teacher-student relationship is not an element of sexual harassment under SSA, and ang student-to-student na harassment ay covered, you will be protected by the Safe Spaces Act. Okay, so what are the penalties, no? You have to take note of these. So, verbal or ang remarks lang, ang tawag mo lang, maghambal ka lang mga sexist, misogynistic, transphobic remarks. First offense mo is 12 hours of community service. And this includes a gender sensitivity training and 1,000 fines. So, medyo lobo gani, no? But hopefully, this will instill something to the perpetrators, especially with the inclusion of a gender sensitivity training. Second offense, may imprisonment ka na, and may 3,000 fine. And the third is may 11 to 30 days imprisonment and 10,000 fine. So, importante kung ready lang ang aton victim survivors mag-report, maski hindi siya siguro madakpan sa first, at least na-report mo siya para eventually kung liwat-liwato niya na, may record ka na sa police station. Only if you're ready to report. And demonstrated or ang ginubragid like masturbation or public ang sa imo physical na may ara kita 12 hours community service. First offense pa lang 10,000 fine ka na dayon. Second 15,000 and last is 20,000 na fine. So this is under the Safe Spaces Act, no? Ang penalty stuff. So through stalking naman and physical advances such as touching, ginikap agad, brushing against genitalia, kikis-a sa Manila, actually, kay gutok-kutok na ang bus, ang MRT. There are instances, no, nga gina-brush nila and then mabalaan mo gid actually kung hungod no. So kung ginahungod-hungod kagid bala or kay gutok lang gid man. Pero ma-feel mo na and you have cases like this, and your first offense is 30,000 agad, no? Fine mo 30,000, and then includes attendance in a GST na conducted by PNP in coordination with LGU and PCW, and all, second 50,000, and the third offense is 100,000 fine. So mahal mambastos. Amo na ang tagline sa una sa QC, sang sila pa lang ang may ordinance, no? Mahal mambastos sa QC. Ngayon, it's supposedly mahal mambastos sa Pilipinas if this is implemented lang din. So, I will highlight this also later on, na local government units may come up with ordinances that impose heavier penalties if they want, no? Subject to conditions under the admin code. So, for example, sa PUV or sa jeep, sa buses, sa taxis, pwede i-cancel ang license ng driver by the LTO and suspension or revocation of franchise by the operator. So this can be imposed by court order. And PUVs also include public water transport. So for example, diri sa aton sa Negros, ang fast crafts, ang Roro, mga to Iloilo, they are covered. Air carriers are also covered. Okay, so like I mentioned, during this pandemic, or even before, damo-damo na gid ang kakatabo nga online sexual harassment, especially to the younger ones, no? Now that we have access to the internet and we have devices. So, ano ni siya ang mga GBOSH, nga ginatawag, may GBOSH kay online, no? So, we have threats. Gina-chat ka, gina-threat ka nga sakiton or gina-blackmail or emotional, unwanted sexual, same man kagina, misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, sexist remarks and comments. So, mga gainaway da sa Facebook, walang may mga amo ng comments, careful lang ta kay pwede gid ka mo makasuhan. And also, invasion of victims' privacy through cyberstalking and incessant messaging. Arang gin-block ka na sa tanan, sagay imo ka lang gyapon bagong account just to chat this person, no? That's different na cause that person will feel unsafe. Kay there's a reason na you are blocked or you are cut off from his or her life, tani. And very important, uploading, sharing without the consent of the victim, any form of media. So my photos, voice recordings, videos with sexual content. So that falls under GBOSH. And unauthorized recording and sharing of any victim's photos. So kung kisa, let's be mindful of of mag-take na pa isang stories nga of strangers kay wala consent. Consent is very important na dapat even the tagging of the photos, dapat malisensya kagid-ana, especially of kids. Taking photos of kids, medyo dapat very, very careful kagid. And also filing false abuse reports to online platforms to silence victims. May mga amo man na cases. Okay, so what do we say, what do we mean when we say cyber stalking? So ang stalking, for example, may crush ka, no? Mag-stalk ka lang sa public profile niya, it's not illegal, no? Or it's not an offense. Kaya crush mo siya, so tanaw-tanaw mo, profile, that's not illegal. So don't worry. Ang cyberstalking, may intent, kagid bala. So this is committed through an electronic medium, which online communication takes place. So the conduct must be manifested through repeated use of electronic communications in stalking. Kumbaga may intent kagid nga even ang hindi niya public info do na pangitaon mo gid or i-follow mo gid ang iya nga digital trail to get information. So ano naman yung penalties for online sexual harassment, no? So may ara kita imprisonment of 6 months and 1 day or to 2 years and 4 months, and a fine of not less than 100,000 but not more than 500,000 pesos or both at the discretion of the court. So, tani na kamo, be careful gid kay medyo dako ang fines for your online sexual harassment. So, if the perpetrator is a juridical person, its license or franchise shall be automatically deemed revoked. So, and the persons liable shall be the officers thereof. So, kung ara siya sa government or may ara siya services na ginahatag, ma-revoke it siya, and station manager, editor, and broadcaster in the case of broadcast media. So, kung ikaw isa ka employee, ang liable, hindi lang ikaw, kundi pati ang ginaobrahan mo, especially through the media. So, So, pag foreigner naman, ang kakommit sa gender-based online sexual harassment, subject to deportation proceedings after serving the sentence and payment of fines. Where can a victim of online GBOSH file a complaint? So, pwede siya ka-file with NBI through Cybercrime Division, PNP, Anti-Cybercrime Group, or the Office of the Cybercrime of the Department of Justice. So later on, I will show you one slide of all those hotlines you can take a photo of or balikan nyo lang ng video. So practical tips, since online, kadasig sa mga katabo. No? So you have to take note of the URL or ang Uniform Resource Locator. Amo na siyang sa babaw. For example, www.facebook.com/blah blah blah. That is the URL, no? You have to copy that or you take a photo and then make a printout of the content of your complaint. Kung ano da, messages ba yan or comment ba yan or photos, etc. You have to make a hard copy of it. For some reason, require sila hard copy na. And you contact the authorities via PNP's complaint desk at acg.pnp.gov.ph or through their complaint action center. So more hotlines here. So I suggest you take a screenshot of this or you take a photo. Respond man sila dayon, but we also have other private groups, support groups naman that can also help you. But sila PNP, Women and Children Protection, we are in partnership with them also in some of our projects, no? And they're very responsive naman. So these are some of the authorities that you can contact in case. Okay, so ang ginatawag ta naman nga qualified gender-based sexual harassment, amo na siya ang higher dayon ng iya penalty, no? So you will be penalized to a next higher in degree than that imposed. So if the act takes place in a PUV, not limited to jeepneys, taxis, etc., where the perpetrator is the driver and the offended parties a passenger. So kung driver ka, ginbastos mo ang isa ka passenger, automatic qualified gender-based sexual harassment siya, and your penalty will be higher. Kumbaga, mas second offense ka dayon. The offended party is a minor, senior citizen, or person with disability, automatic, dayon. Okay, in the workplace, actually, specific lang man amo bangyapon ang aton, all the acts, no, are may specific lang sa workplace na duties of employers. So, employers should have a copy of this act in the whole workplace and then provide measures for to prevent gender-based sexual harassment and also to have a code in place. Ito, an independent internal mechanism or code na dapat tanan nga may representative to designate a woman as its head and not less than half of its members should be women. And then may representative ang supervisory rank and file, and the union. Supposedly, dapat may ara. Ayan. So also guarantee confidentiality. It will not be a grounds for ma-fire ka bala. Kung magreklamo ka, dapat hindi ka i-fire just because nagreklamo ka. So for education and training institutions, same. But this is what I want to highlight. So there are recent cases sa schools, no? Even if the individual or the student or whoever does not want to file a complaint, maski hindi siya gusto, dapat ang school mag-take action. So regardless of kung ano ang hindi na siya involved, ang victim survivor, kung hindi siya gusto, but the school should take action and make sure that the school environment is conducive to learning and hindi siya maging hostile environment. Ayan, so the school must take immediate action. You should also have a CODI sa school to investigate and dapat wala conflict of interest. So adequately represented by the school admin, trainers, instructors, etc. And so also protect the complainant from retaliation, and set administrative penalties. So other salient features, of course, are restraining order. Pwede maski wala pa na-file ang case, pwede ka-request for a restraining order. And we also have supposedly psychological and counseling services available. And eventually, dapat ang perpetrator ang magbayad sang fees mo because these are expensive yung professional fees ng aton mga site medyo expensive siya. So some exemptions lang if it's expressions of indigenous culture and tradition, like women from tribes that show partial nudity, excused or exempted na siya. Ayan. Okay, so just a quick run through, no? Congratulations to the province of Negros Occidental for being the first province to localize this safe space ordinance. And like I mentioned, they added a few provisions that were not in the national law. For example, under buildings, expand lang nila nga specific. We have hospitals, clinics, medical therapy centers, churches, condominiums, apartments, etc. And the additional provision of tricycad, di kay sa Manila, guro, may tricycad man, pero do wala man siguro ginagamit. Pero diri sa aton, it is really used, no? Habal-habal, private carpool app, based transport, we have bangkas, raft, boats. Kin-add na nila. And they specified, or the board members of Negros specified, nag-add sila, ang rural areas are agricultural areas, fields, ancestral domains, etc. And they also defined workplaces na not just offices, but all spaces where persons work. So for example, at a work from home na ta, that is also considered your workplace. Also, if non-employees access, for example, you're dealing with suppliers, dealers, and agents, so that's also considered a workplace. Ayan, so kaya ang nakita to ang PUVs, may cancellation siya of franchise. And ang tricycad mo kag habal-habal, wala man na franchise, may offense lang aging dugang ang ordinance ng Negros, no, to the driver will not be allowed to operate any habal-habal tricycle for 5 days, or maging ma-hire siya as driver. Second offense, 15 days, and third offense, 30 days. So congrats to Negros for localizing the law based sa aton kakatabot sa ground. So duties and responsibilities ng province, may ara siya dapat End VAWC or subcommittee to oversee the full implementation of the ordinance as well as the Safe Spaces Act. So may ari na tadi sa ordinance na i-ensure na ang component cities and municipalities, so calling all LGUs dira, na i-localize nyo man ang Safe Spaces Act. Kaya na niya sa ordinance ng province. So you can get a copy of this, I'm sure, from the province, no? So it's also duty of the province to ensure tani na setting up and maintenance of functional CCTV cameras. Kaya kung i-request na siya in major roads, alleys, and sidewalks, kung i-request siya sang victim, dapat readily available. Ayan. So roll out information campaigns also, produce IECs. I'm sure they're already working on that because this is recently just passed and ceremonial signing lang siguro just like a few days ago or last week, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Dapat may araman ta anti-sexual harassment hotline sa mga city and municipalities, no, to receive and respond to calls. So we also have to let our traffic enforcers and local enforcement units undergo GST and orientation on safe spaces up to the barangay and barangay tanons. Ayan. So, even na punong barangays, etc. Okay, so just super quick. This is the last na. Just a quick video that I want to share. This is 2 years ago. Kaka-pasar lang ang law o ginubran.
As the Bawal Bastos Bill lapses into law, we zero in on Quezon City's experience in implementing their anti-catcalling ordinance. Madali lang ba ito ipatupad? At kamusta naman ang karanasan ng mga biktima? Shaila Garde reports.
It made me feel unsafe. I felt na na-violate yung personal space ko.
Ay, ganda. Miss pahipo nga. Miss pahawak nga. I saw a person dun sa may passenger seat, tapos nakatingin sa akin, nakasmile. Tapos I felt so uncomfortable.
For many of us, especially women, hindi na bago ang maranasan natin masipulan o mabastos sa kalye. Pero good news, dahil ngayon ang acts of street harassment, punishable na under the Safe Spaces Act o Bawal Bastos Law.
Depending on the gravity of the offense, iba-iba ang penalty sa mapapatunayang lumabag sa batas na ito. Mula sa community service, pag-attend ng gender sensitivity seminar, multa, o pagkakakulong. Para sa maraming nakaka-experience nito halos araw-araw, it's about time.
Nasa jeep ako, yung guy, unti-unti, lumalapit na siya sa akin hanggang sa na-feel ko na yung paghipo niya sa akin. And then, nandun na rin yung kaba. After na nagpara ako, and then, bumaba na ako kagad.
So, nagpara ka kahit wala ka pa sa destination?
Oo.
For years, kinakatcall ako ng kapitbahay namin mismo. Tuwing dadaan ako dun sa area nila, since lagi siya nag-hi miss, ang ganda mo naman. Medyo creepy na siya. Got to the point na nakakatakot na siya. I told that to my mom, and then she said na samahan niya ako sa barangay station. Now that it's a law, I feel safer and I feel more secured na kaya ko nang malalakad sa streets na hindi ko feel na walang mangyayari kapag may reklamo ako.
While the Safe Spaces Act only lapsed into law this April, sa Quezon City, 2016 pa umiiral ang kapareho nitong ordinansa, the Anti-Catcalling Ordinance, whose main proponent is Councilor Mayen Huico.
Base sa data, napakaraming nahaharas sa mga kabataan. I think it's already at 89% from mga kababaihan na 18 to 24 years old. And as a woman, I've also been a victim more than times that I could actually even recall na nakaranas din ng harassment. Napakarami ng nasampola nung batas na ito.
Positibong kinilala ng call center agent ang police accusing ng bastos umano sa kanya noong November 2 ng gabi sa Katipunan Avenue Extension sa Quezon City.
At dahil nga sa pioneering ordinance na ito ng Quezon City, the victim was able to make a difference in this milestone case.
When I was walking, I was alone and there's no around me, no lights even. Biglang may dumating na police car. Since naglalakad din ako, di gumagalaw din siya. Tapos bumaba yung window. I kept walking for a little more. Pero hindi tumigil yung police car. I heard someone whistle na talaga. And that's what made me stop actually.
From 2016 until ngayon pong 2019, base po sa aming statistic, 18 cases ng catcalling. Pag alam nilang sila ay nagkaroon ng ganyang karanasan, mag-report sa police. Hindi ibig sabihin agad-agad mahuli. Ang importante yung report. Kamalay natin in the future, ma-identify magkasalubong. So, pwede pong balikan ang record sa PNP.
Ngayong applicable na rin ito sa buong Pilipinas, sino mang victim ng street harassment na kadalasan ay mga babae at LGBT ay may magagawa ng aksyon.
Masaya ako kasi here in Quezon City, we were the first to pass this ordinance. Tapos ngayon, isa na siyang ganap na batas sa Republika ng Pilipinas.
Kasi ngayon, we should be more open about this, diba? We should be more aware na hindi na dahil sa suot yan. It's a different time already.
Through this law, naway mas mabigyan ng justice ang victims of harassment at magkaroon ng more awareness tungkol sa importansya ng gender equality at respeto. I'm Shai Lagarde and I stand for truth.
Okay, so I think that's it for my presentation. Thank you again, NOLITC and all the viewers right now. No?
Thank you very much, Demi, for such a clear explanation on the Safe Spaces Act. I believe all our viewers via Facebook and YouTube were really cleared on all the stipulations of the law. Kaya mo gid ni siya ang dapat natin mabaladanan. And I'm happy that the province of Negros Occidental made a milestone. Yes, it's a milestone.
First province.
Yes, we're the first province to really have an ordinance. And we have expanded pa the coverage of the ordinance to make it very clear. So, ang challenge right now is for us to really cascade this information. That's why we really started this advocacy sa aton nga kick-off celebration, sa aton nga mga God advocacies within the 18 days campaign na mauna gid naton tackle ang Safe Spaces Act. And we are very happy that you're here with us. You're a very active advocate of the Safe Spaces Act, Bawal Bastos campaign. So, yes. So, let us start our discussion with this first question. How many LGUs in Negros Occidental have actually passed the ordinance on Safe Spaces Act?
Yes, so as of now, unfortunately, wala pa, no? But actually, last year, I also spoke in Silay City, syempre our hometown, no? And actually, may talks na kami with the council regarding a safe space ordinance. During that time, though, wala pa bala kopya nga pwede gid nila masundan. So now siguro ibalikan na ni nila that now that the province has their own ordinance, pwede na gid siya ma-cascade sa LGU. So I'm not so sure with other LGUs, but as of now, unfortunately, I think wala pa gid cities and municipalities na may Safe Spaces Act yan na ordinance. So, hopefully, project nila.
Kung wala ang mga LGUs, they still have to follow the ordinance of the province,
Of
right?
course, oo, yes, because first and foremost, Safe Spaces Act is a national law. With the province, pa na additional na ordinance, so may double protection na ta. So amo lang kanamitan isang localization kay kung anong kakatabo gid bala sa inyo community, pwede mo gid siya madugangan.
Okay. So sa aton yung mga viewers, let's remember, national law ni siya. Hindi ni siya iyalang ka probinsya. So be careful, nabatian nyo kung ano mga violations, panihol-nihol, patada, panihol pa more. Kay wala ta kabalo gali nga ang aton ginaubra, may accountability, kita may penalty. So mas mayong ma-explain naton thoroughly in the dialect na ang panihol, ang abusive language, ang aton nga pag tawag-tawag dahil sa babae, maglabay siya gwapa or gabay-bay siya, nalakat-lakat siya, gwapa-gwapa, then wala ta kabalo.
Hindi na siya,
Hindi. May kaso na nga pangatubangon ang ini nga mga persona. So, moving on to our second question. How's the info drive or advocacy going on in Negros Occidental?
Siyempre, ang NOLITC, no, one of our champions man with this info drive and ang advocacy. For sure, I know dako gid ang importance sa ginagive ni Gov Lacson to the GAD programs, of course, because my mom is there, one of the EAs of Gov, no? And even before the passage of the ordinance, may ara na gid yung mga orientation on the Safe Spaces Act na even with the sa side lang bala mga private institutions, and now that the ordinance is passed, like I mentioned, like a week lang, parang last week or 2 weeks ago lang siya napirmahan. I'm sure next year or even start na gid this webinar is a start no of the info drive sa province sang Safe Spaces Act. I'm sure you will be very busy, and si Mama siguro very busy man with this mag-implement sine. I'm sure madalahig naman ko, but I'm very, very happy to support.
And you'll be the first speaker again to explain that in the awareness campaign. Okay, kinahanglan ta gid sang mga advocates. And also, in line with this question, atong kagina nga ginahambal mo, ginpanawagan mo nga there should be a desk nga naga-cater sa amo ni di pala sometimes biktima ka na, you're a victim, pero you're not aware kung ano ka. I mean, because of fear, you're a teenager, for example, may fear ka, or bata ka, may fear ka. So it's a good suggestion nga dapat mayroon isang isa ka desk nga naga-cater sang sini nga mga concerns, right?
Yes. And even hotline, miss, para hindi mo na kailangan mag-cut to if ever.
Yes, hotlines are very important. And also, we can come up with a Facebook, page where we can cater some mga complaints or issues of women and children na naangot sa siningalay. Okay? So, let's move forward to the third question. What will be the accountability of educational institutions or training centers that do not support the Safe Spaces Act?
Yeah, so may ara, the penalties for non-compliance, actually, I searched here, it's, they will be fined not more than 15,000, no, if hindi sila ka-create decorum committee. May ara cases, kay tungod siguro high position bala ang perpetrator, ginaprotektahan pa, and then will threaten the victim na ano na lang amon i-settle bala within them, so hindi na siya dapat pwede. Tani, so if they will not comply and you have proof no nga they are non-compliant, may ara gid sila fine under the Safe Spaces Act, and pwede nyo gid makasuhan ang educational institution or training center even. And like I mentioned, mas importante to ang sa educational institutions, wala, the schools, even if the student or the victim will not file a case, dapat imbestigahan gid gyapon sa school head. Kay a concrete example is what happened with my alma mater, bala, UP Visayas. Last year, may nag-spread ng mga group chats ng fraternity, members of fraternities na very, very bastos gidya. Unfortunately, some of the victims have already graduated, and though I don't know kung ano to ang natabo, but dugol pilang nadula. I'm not sure UP can maybe contact me about this, no? But duhambal sang mga victims na wala man nagaan action. So nadlok na to sila mag-file case kay medyo may connections ni ang mga perpetrators ta. But supposedly the school or the training institution has the responsibility to make the space conducive kityatani para sa tanan and safe.
So dako gidya ang role sang mga eskwelahan sa
Yes,
sininga campaign. And this is not only focused sa mga teachers, right?
Yes.
Tanan nga perpetrator. So bisan estudyante ka nga manihol-nihol ka daw or estudyante ka nga mangbastos ka sang imo teacher or mangbastos ka sang imo nga colleagues.
Classmate mo, yes.
Classmates mo. So amo na nga kinanglan buligan ta inyong kampanya. And I'm happy to mention now we have invited representatives from DepEd in this webinar and also representatives from Atino. That's an organization of technical vocational schools in Negros Occidental. So part sila sa ato nga group nga gin-invite para at least mabalaan nila kung ano ang ilang role sa pagpatuman sang sini nga bag-o nga lay. Okay? So let's move on to our fourth question. How can employers prevent gender-based sexual harassment in the workplace?
Yes, kay experiences mo na mo nga do ka ga joke bala nga mga banters nga do ano. So kisa hindi ta aware nga naga-cross nagalit sa line. So ang employers they have responsibility na first and foremost may ara gid sila dissemination sa aton nga act, no? And they should provide measures to prevent gender-based sexual harassment. Dapat may CODI man sila, may independent internal mechanism. Kag ang membro sang CODI, hindi lang ang mga taas posisyon. Even those members ng union, ang mga rank and file, and supervisory rank. And main niya gid is, babayi tani ang head sang sininga CODI, kag dapat impartial ang CODI. So mag-investigate ka, ang employers dapat hindi mo ni siya himuon nga grounds for firing or for ano mo ang nagreklamo, because it is your responsibility as a workplace na to ensure the safety of your employers, so of your employees I mean. So kung sino man ang perpetrator, may internal assessment kamo danay kay kung ang ano nila assessment yaha, not settlement. Kay ang ano nila natirito na lang ni kayo, hindi na pagpagwaon kay pati ang company ma-involve. But you have the responsibility to give justice to this victim survivor man, even within your own institution. So hindi pwede na i-fix mo lang i-settle mo lang or ang ibang gina-fire na lang ang biktima para wala na problem. Hindi ka na lang diya kay ano ka sensitive sa imo or kaano sa imo. So that's not how it's supposed to be. Under the law, you are protected, and the employers and institutions should do something to protect you.
And this is not only limited to public agencies.
Even private institutions.
Yes. So dapat may compliance. Ara gid sa layi nga dapat may compliance ang tanan nga institution. So kinanglan may ara kita sang Committee on Decorum to handle such cases, and also kung amo na ginamba no balang remedyuhan na lang. So we're looking at justice.
Mostly katabo gina siya And even just this, for example, ang aton webinars available na siya online. If wala ka mo budget to hire a resource speaker or what, you can just download this and play this video, no? So it is not an excuse anymore nga hindi ka aware nga may amuni nga batas. And just like I said, sad gani nga need pang batas para maging respectful ka bala. Basic decency lang na basic ano mo lang na as tao tani kailangan tagid siya i-impose gid nga sa law gid bala nga amuni. So if you don't have the means to hire a resource speaker, may ara nagita online damo nagit and aring NOLITC videos and webinars, no, you can use this. You ask permission and then and then you can use this also. Ang mga small businesses ta hindi na siya excuse nga usually be mambagti kay gamay man lang kami nga business, hindi dapat tanan aware gid kay
Yes.
liable ka mo and accountable
Yes.
ka mo dapat.
Correct. So, amo ginang pinaka-big role sa mga employers na dapat aware sila sa mga bag-ong layi. And no matter how small or how big ang imo organization, dapat naga-comply ka sa sini nga ordinance, sa sini nga layi. Kay may ara accountability not only the employee but at the same time the employer. Kaya it's a very common practice. Nalipatan na bala ang pagrespeto, nalipatan na ang proper etiquette. Sige na lang ka, you know. Yeah, so kay
tradition or do batasan nagid bala nga ti kung galakat ka sa dalan panihulan ka do pawala na lang when they're not aware nga alam mo niya hindi na yan namin, hindi na yan saktutan, no.
And then on the contrary, you will be judged kay naka-shorts ka or nagpagwapa ka. So, you know, kinanglan tagit sang massive nga advocacy campaign, pagtudlo para at least ma-disseminate nato ng correct information kag wala sang mga tao nga makasuhan. Okay? So, let's move on, Arina, ang aton yung next question. Since the law was passed, is there any case filed in court?
I'm not so sure about like malabot dagit sa court, but I know may mga naga-file cases and I don't have the statistics right now, pero may ara gani before na dugin sampulan nila, dugin try nila ang law, no they filed, this group of women filed the case against President Duterte, syempre because known you know the remarks and all that, but of course the president has immunity, but they just want to try the law and then they filed the case. So that is filed, pero syempre wala na yung movement. Pero even in communities, I know of some na sa local police stations naka-file nila. Kaya amo man ang iban, very hesitant to file a case. Kayo need pa a lawyer, kagamo, gusto mo na lang bala peace, do ka ikaw na galing na-harass, gingamo pa ang kabuhi mo. So, there are those groups and the authorities that will help you man. So if hindi ka comfortable maglapit sa police, may mga orgs or may mga groups kita, I can give NOLITC like an infographic on that nga amo na aya ang mabulig sa imo. So don't be scared, and yun, to answer the question, there are already cases filed sa courts, no. And so you have to be careful kitud-tuod gini saya nga maskin panihulan mo ko mambal ka nga hindi mo hungod or ano,
yes,
pwede ka
tama.
kung ang kag ang ano din miss, ang bottom line is hindi ang perpetrator ang ka-decide nga amo tong intention niya. Kung ako at that moment I felt vulnerable, harassed and unsafe, pwede ka gid makasuhan. Amo na
yes.
siya.
So it's the vigilance sang biktima. Kagang awareness ang biktima nga ay hindi mo ko mabuli sa social media kay kabalo na ko nga ang ginahimo mo sa akon is harassment. Kabalo ko nga ginaharas mo ko, ginastalk mo ko. So I have all the right, di ba la? So it's always the vigilance of the victim. So this is also the agenda of these webinars nga gina-educate naton ang tanan kay wala ta kabalo basi ang isa di sa aton subong nga viewer nangin biktima sa amo ni nga circumstances, sa amo ni nga mga abuses. Kag wala man sila kabalo, nga abuse na nagali.
Yeah.
Hindi bala?
Kisa ang perpetrators man actually hindi sila aware nga sala gali. So for example, hindi man to stereotype, but kisa ang mga tambay, ang mga truck drivers, no, but ignorance of the law excuses no one. And kung habalan ta sila, ano na sala na pwede ka na makasuhan, then hopefully mauntat, no, but kailangan aware sila anay nga may amoni.
So dako man ang role sa mga barangay captains kasi lagi ang mga first person nga in close contact sa pumuluyo. So dapat massive man ang ilang advocacy labi na din sa mga tricycle drivers. There's no stereotyping sa mga tricycle drivers, pero commonly amo na bigin experience sa mga kabataan So kabay pa nga mabag-o ang ini nga kind of stereotype or labeling sa ilang nga grupo. Okay? So let's move on to our next question. if you are a victim of gender-based harassment, where can you lodge your complaint?
Now, sa tanan naman nga police station, may na ta women's desk. So, you can lodge your complaint sa women's desk dapat. And let me just check that.
Is there a time frame? Like, kung may limit? Kaya like, saan mo na siya i-file?
Actually, sa law, wala na butang necessarily like right after gid. Pero as much as possible, kay magiging he said, she said siya eh. So if you have witnesses, tani. Pero kung right after or right after niya to nag-report kagid dayon, easier for the authorities man to pursue that perpetrator. Pero kung medyo madugayan na ta, medyo budlay na siya yan. Unlike the rape case, to may specific, ito nga number of years na dapat within that, ma-report mo na. Though, sa pagbasa ko sa safe spaces, walaan mo na. Pero ang iban, hindi, gid man sila ready, to really file a case. Na, like I said, it's quite messy. But they want, dapat ang habadugan isang police sa video, nga, importante na record ta lang. Na-record ta, kaya it will be counted against them.
So like, ipa-blatter.
Yes.
Ipa-blatter,
ipa-report
sa barangay captain.
Yeah. Hindi siya burden sa biktima na, hindi kasuwi na bala ka para maano. Kung hindi pa ready, hindi mo na yan mapilit. So, just lodge a report or a complaint. Sa ulihin na lang kung gusto, kung ready na siya. So, you can do that. And kung cybercrime naman, online, we have the PNP, Anti-Cybercrime Group. I'm not so sure with the local kung paano nila gina-deal. Pero nationally, may ara na sila emails na and hotlines na available for online. And Bantay Bastos Facebook page, our group, no, we also welcome ang mga reklamo kay gina-forward man na we are working closely with the PNP and NTI and DOJ also with that.
Okay. And also sa social media kay kadamo gid yan no, daw ka rampant gid bala ang ang bullying, ang pangbastos, like kuaon na nila picture mo, isla nila ang imo nga tsura or ipalapta nila ang mga photos nga hindi namin ang tsura mo, hindi man ikaw. So you have to really report. Be vigilant. Amo ginang ginapanawagan nato ni kinahanglan vigilant ang aton nga pumuluyo ang mga kababainhan ng kabataan, even the LGBT, di ba? And even the men. Kaya
covered din sila by the law.
Everyone is covered with this Safe Spaces Act. Hindi lang ni para sa babae, hindi lang ni para sa LGBT, hindi lang ni para sa kabataan, kundi para ni sa atong tanan to have a safe place to live. Ang mala na ato niya kausa, di ba? So, next, we move on to the next question. If the violence occurred in malls, resorts, restaurants, etc., is it covered by the law?
Yes, it is, because these are part of our public spaces, no? And according to the law, required ang malls, resorts, and restaurants to provide you with CCTV kung may ara sila. To provide you with CCTV to aid your complaint. Before, need pa na siya Supreme Court. Basta doon court order pa to access the CCTV. Now, under the Safe Spaces Act, kailangan ihatag din na nila sa imo kung available man lang. So, they have also that responsibility. Hindi sila maghugas kamay, dapat buligan nila ang mga biktima to pursue these cases. So, kung natabo na siya sa malls, kakaon ka mo, or sa resorts, etc. Kung may ara man lang CCTV or ano pa da nga ma-witness, ang mga staff they have to help you.
What if they refuse to provide CCTV recordings? They'll be held liable.
Yes, they will be held liable and non-compliance na siya sa law eh. So, may araman sila fine like we mentioned earlier. So, they really have to. So, I don't know why nga hindi sila mag-provide CCTV. Is that to protect the perpetrator, diba, no? So, you don't want to be known as the parang establishment that protects perpetrators or something. So, I suggest use ang imo yung branding. Dapat this place is a safe space, diba? Tanan niya, ihatag to help our victim survivors.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to our next question. What if you didn't know the name of the perpetrator? How can you file a case or complaint?
Amo na yung very tricky, good miss, no? Kaya as far as I know, you really have to know, Tani, the name. So, ang ginoobra nila before is i-ask nila, pero do ka scary na. So, kung sa community, sa locality mo, kung sa barangay mo lang da, syempre easy to know kung sino-sino lang da, no? Pero if you are in a public utility vehicle or nakasakay mo lang somewhere, medyo budlay siya. And I don't know, personal suggestion ko lang siguro, ipadiretso mo ng driver sa police station, I don't know. So, maybe other lawyers can help with this, no, kaya hindi mo ko yung lawyer. But as far as I know, you need kasi the name, Tani.
Yes, very important din ang name. So,
yeah, so
kung ara ka sa mall, you have the recording. So, at least, makapangayo ka sang recording, ma-replay, makita, ma-identify ang person. And also, if you're having a flight, di ba may CCTV man na sa airport. So, at makita man kung sino. Pero kung ara ka sa jeepney,
basta mangita ka na lang witness, witness to identify bala kung anong bayo niya or kung anong tsura niya. I'm not so sure, but yun, baka siguro this can be covered by the local ordinances, no, kung ano na, kung paano na. Let me check with the implementing rules and regulations man sang safe spaces kung ano ang ila position on that.
Or isa siguro ka option nila, like for example, if they're in a bus or in a jeepney, they can call the attention right away of the driver or someone seated beside them para at least makadocument pala, maka-take pictures.
Yes.
Kaya sometimes, hindi lang man pwedeng ikaw lang isa, especially kung bata ka pa, you're a teenager, you're very scared kay tungod sining kind of bullying or abuse na ginimo simo. So, you know, you can ask help from someone beside you or in front of you nga mag-take pictures para may ara ka proof. Pero sa sining sitwasyon, we really need an expert advice regarding to this one. Yeah. Kaya kung kaso na, kung layi na, dapat may ara kita sang personality sang perpetrator naton sa kinahanglan naton ma-identify. Okay? So let's move on to our question number 9. What evidences do you need to file a complaint against the perpetrator?
So like I mentioned, even in the ordinance ng province, no, as much as possible, kailangan gid tani may mga CCTVs kita in major roads and streets. So if public places, nga physical place, kung kaya ta may picture or may video or may witness, aton statement ka witness, kung wala tani may cameras ta, no. But if wala gid ni tanan, sige lang, lodge ka lang yung complaint kay buligan ka na. Dapat ang mandate sang police is i-help ya ka to gather evidences mo. So don't be scared kung feeling mo wala ka gid laban kay may ara gid ya. Just file a complaint and they will help you. But to aid your complaint, we have the cameras, video statements, and pag online naman, we have screenshots. Kaya importante ang screenshots, ang URLs, ang records. Hindi kisabi kung gataranta kabala or dakulbaan ka nga gina-blackmail ka nga may pictures or videos ka, i-delete mo. Hindi na nganay. I-screenshot mo and then tsaka mo i-clear ang ano. Kay kung bata kapag bimis no kadamo, niya mga amo ni kakatabo, and unfortunately, kulbaan ka nga maski hindi na ikaw, pero may tsura mo gin-edit or what, magwa na mapati sila. So, screenshot, mag-importante kita ang evidences ta sa online, hapos magwa, hapos man mag-edit, pero maanon tagin na sila. Pero i-save mo lang gid ana, hindi mo ni pag-delete kay you will need that in the future. So, we need all the help we can to gather these evidences. Pero like I mentioned, if feeling mo wala gid, just file a complaint and our authorities should help you with your case.
Yes, and this should serve as a warning to those na mahilig gid bala bully sa social media. You will be held accountable, and don't ever think hindi ka mo madakpan. Kay may ara na subong detektor kung diin ka nag-usar sa internet mo dampi,
Maski
Diin
fake
ka
account
ba?
or dummy account imo gamit pwede ka
Yes.
gid ma-trace.
Ma-detect ka
So
na
mga
subong.
trolls.
Yes, ang mga
so hindi na
trolls,
gid.
well, ano, nagid ka mo. Hindi na ka mo kapanago.
Hindi ka
So,
panago.
let
You
us
have to
all
be
be
responsible.
vigilant. So, kung makitaan mo, if you're the victim, labi na gid sa social media, screenshot, taguang, tanan mo
I-save.
ebidensya, kag mag-file sang complaint. Pero ta National Privacy Commission, may Cybercrime Commission man ta, nga they will run after these perpetrators. Kay hindi ni sila magsigi kung vigilant kita sa pag-report sang sini nga mga kaso. Okay, so kadamo sa aton nga mga questions from our audience. So let's move on to our question number 10. If I had no intention whatsoever to offend the other person when I gave the remark or did the specific act, can I raise this as a defense?
No. Amo ni mention ko kagina nga although para sa imo, like honest to goodness, wala ka gid intention nga do ka magka uy gwapa or uy sexy mo na or miskin good morning kisaya. 'Di ba? Kung if it's coming from someone na stranger nga do wala man bla kalabot-labot simo. Other times may malain ang compliment sa do medyo underhanded nga statements balakag honestly balaan na bala ka tao kung may lain ka nga tinutuyo kung good morning nga wala gid ya malis balaan ginaya pero kung may ara bala side may underhanded gid nga intention mabalaan ginaya. So kung like I mentioned, you can't unfortunately for the victim survivors, you can't use na it's just a joke, wala ka intention or wala malis as a defense. So bottom line, hindi mo na lang gid ya pag-ubrahon. Kay hindi ka kabalo how another person will take it. So even this ang iban wala nakaagim ako na nga mga honest lang gid nga good morning, tima good morning do di ba Miss Ten, I'm sure you also have experiences nga balaan mo na iyang wala malis siya sa uy do gid mo na bala as trust me, the victim survivors would know if your intention is something else. So don't worry if wala ka man ang intention, hindi na lang to be safe, don't na lang kung hindi mo siya kilala, kung stranger ka, hindi na lang. Pero kung kilala na ka mo, good morning pero kung kilala na ka mo, kag medyo ginbastos mo siya tilayin pag ginayay. Pero as much as possible, ikaw na lang gid, be careful ka na lang gid sa imo thoughts.
So be careful with your remarks. Okay? And be accountable sa tanan mo ginahambal. Kay you cannot raise that as your defense kay base na slant to yung feelings sa ginambalan ng person. So, and there's a law na naga-protect sa iya. So, pwede na yan iyay mo nga basis sa complaint against you. So, normally Dems, ang ini nga mga language bala nagagawa ni siya sa male-dominated workplace. I don't know kung makarelate ka na sa inyong mga research, right? Now, if you're one person nga ara dira and then you're dominated by male colleagues, most often ang language pang male man. So, I don't know
how sila locker room talk na locker room talk bala may sa do tike mo gini mga laki magstoryahanay no kay may ara na cases man nga amo to gani ang chat group nga nag-leak kay ma-excuse sila na kay mo gini mga lalaki magstoryahanay amo na kanubo ang panulukan sa mga lalaki nga ang baga-baga lalaki bastos dayon di ba hindi kay may mga lalaki man nga hindi bastos and para sa mga lalaki, sugot lang kamo na, nga amo na ang stereotype sa inyo, nga bastos, kamo nga wala kamo respeto, diba? So, kamo man, hindi kamo mag-allow, I mean, men or those nga, don't allow yourselves to be seen that way na, I'm sure hindi na yatanan amo na. So, hindi kamo kaka-generalize kamo because of these few people. You have to, do ka stand your ground man pala na, we are not like that. No, amo na bala. Hindi ka mag-locker room talk kay do ka basic decency lang gid. No respeto lang gid sa tanan bala. Amo lang gid ang bottom line tada.
I totally agree. So, in the workplace, it should be equal. Yes. Everyone should have their right to express their opinions. But of course, may limitations sa ato na freedom. kung ang imong foul language naka-hurt na sa imong colleague, regardless ang iyang sex or gender, and then you will be held accountable.
Yes.
So this is the beauty of the law. It protects us from those abuse. Nga through the years na experience ta na ni kita personally naka-experience ta sini sa amuning nga kind of environment nga galakat-lakat ka lang, you feel unsafe, sakay ka sa jeep, you feel nga ginatulok-tulok ka sa mga tao, and then you're so naive nga wala ka kabalo kung ano ka. And then during that time, wala man layi. So now there's a law that will protect you. So you just have to be vigilant. And we also need the help of our educators.
And to add lang ko, Miss, to those who, for example, you watch this webinar, no, and then do feeling mo hala, kasi at one point, naging doon nakakakos ko bala harm sa iba, nga doon ka, ang mga abi mo harmless lang nga paghikap-hikap sa shoulder, sa hawak. You know what you should do? Kung hindi ka man niya bala guilty, I mean, do you feel guilty? You can ask that person, for example, my workmate, ka nga do for me, ka mo yaga joke-joke, kag comfortable, ka mo sa each other, nga ginahawak-hawakan mo di siya. You can ask, na it's okay to ask na, uy, at any point, did you feel na na-harass ka or something? Sorry for that. As in, amo na bala, okay lang gina, pero kung guilty, kaya ka may ginubra ka guilty, lain na nga storya. So, those who are watching this webinar, if you have thoughts na labas, may ara, bala nag-feel towards sa mga actions and remarks ko, you can ask them outright na at any point, did you feel harassed? Did you feel unsafe? Kay lain-lain nga tao, lain-lain mga reaction towards that mo. For iban, okay lang na yung magikapikap, yung kay close mo ka mo. Pero para sa iban, medyo mas ano pa ka mo ka-close, di na yung sa imo. So, it's okay to ask. It's always, dapat you should ask, get gani, so that you will have that consent of the person. To make sure, nga, wala kaya may ginatapakan nga linya. Then, that's, it's okay. Nang kung feeling mo at one point, amugid man na, just say sorry. Kay sorry ka ha, not just because hadlo ka kasuhan.
Yes.
Remorse.
Kay may layin.
Oo, not just because of that, but now aware ka nga hala, mo nagaling feelings ang amo to nga tao or amo to nga tao. So you have to be sorry because you are sorry, not just because hindi ka gusto makasuhan. Yon. So don't worry. Sige lang, we are all learning.
Yes, so I think that would be our last question for the open forum. We just want to hear your parting shots before we move on sa ating webinar.
Yeah, so again, I would like to thank NOLITC for inviting me for this Safe Spaces act for the webinar. No? And I'm always happy to share this because it's a very comprehensive law and it's something that should protect us if enforced efficiently and effectively. Parting words lang siguro, we should all be careful of all our remarks and all our actions. And if hindi man, example with regards to catcalling, if hindi mo kinanglan maghambada anything, just don't do it. Just don't say it. So catcalling is not cute, it's not funny, it's not complimenting. It's actually demeaning, it's disgusting, honestly, no? And it feels like you treat women as objects or animals. I don't know. So let's all be careful and let's be vigilant. So now everywhere is supposed to be a safe space for us. So let's keep it that way. Hindi kita maging perpetrators and let's help our victim survivors. And if ever we are put in that position na maging biktima gid man ta, unfortunately, we have groups, we have everyone is at your back. We will support you and you are not alone. Walang na. So thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Demi, for that very interesting discussion. And I hope that we'll have a few more sessions with you next year so that we can continue to propel our advocacy and we can continue to inform the public about the Safe Spaces Act. So now, let's go back to Ms. Red.
Thank you very much. Yes, we would like to express our most profound appreciation to our expert speaker, Ms. Demi Castro, and of course to our exceptional moderator, Dr. Tina Arbisido, for her superb facilitation. Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Tina. Shall we give them a virtual round of applause? And if you like this webinar, share some virtual reactions. Give this talk a thumbs up or a virtual heart reaction to our expert speaker, Miss Demi, or let's send one another some virtual hugs reaction. That would be so nice. We also, again, would like to thank our participants. Yes, from the Department of Education, we have a lot of educators joining us today, and we are so glad to have you here. Now, we move on to the awarding of our certificate to our resource speaker. Yes, may we invite our speaker, Miss Dawn Castro, to our virtual stage. And the certificate reads, Prince of Negros Occidental Language and Information Technology Center awards this certificate of appreciation to our expert speaker, Ms. Dami Castro, for sharing her valuable expertise and commendable service extended as a resource speaker in the Safe Spaces webinar given this first day of December 2021 via YouTube, and Facebook live stream.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ma'am Castro. As for the province of Negros Occidental through our Governor Eugenio Sebong Lacson, we continue to deliver responsive gender and development programs. And to conclude this event with a hopeful note, let us hear from the very passionate and supportive Provincial Gender and Development Focal Point System Action Officer, Ma'am Mary June P. Castro.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you and congratulations to all involved in the conduct of this GAD webinar. To our resource person, we truly appreciate your sharing of your time and insights in today's episode of the GAD Webinar Series 2021, organized by the Negros Occidental Language and Information Technology Center. Our participants are indeed blessed and privileged to be able to hear your inputs. NOLITC is living up to its title as one of our GAD champions, a multi-awarded institution that not only inspires but also cares for the trainees and their families and the larger community as well. By coming up with this webinar, NOLITC has indeed recognized that all issues are women's issues, that the COVID-19 pandemic will not stop us from addressing issues that matters, especially if they affect our youth, our children, who are considered our future. We thank NOLITC for providing a safe way of educating our constituents. As the action officer of the Provincial GAD Focal Point System, I join my fellow GAD advocates in telling our young Negrenses that you are important, you are loved, not only by your family, but also by your provincial government. Thank you and congratulations to all. Avance, Negrense.
Thank you, Ms. Mary Joan Castro. Moreover, we would like to thank our active participants for tuning in after the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us in this another informative session. I also would like to emphasize how you can get a certificate for those of you who are asking how to get a certificate for attending this webinar online. Please provide us your evaluation through the link provided in the description box below. Do this right now or towards the end of this webinar. Your email address should be typed in correctly. Be careful with the spelling of your email address so it won't bounce back. The link to this evaluation form will be open until 6 o'clock this evening. All right, so we do really appreciate your feedback, and we will be using your feedback and evaluation to further improve the conduct of our webinars. 4 days to go before the Hour of Code. The Hour of Code started as 1 hour introduction to computer science designed to demystify coding and to show that everybody can learn the basics and to broaden participation in the field of computer science. So the Hour of Code is an international initiative to show that everybody can code even without your computer. So this is free and we do really encourage you to register now if you want to participate. Again, this is an online event and we welcome everybody, especially to the students from the Department of Education to join in this Hour of Code. All right, so thank you. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes our Gender and Development Webinar 5, Safe Spaces. Tomorrow, we will have another exciting and insightful webinar about communication in the new normal with the effervescent journalist, Ms. Mate Espina. See you in the same platform that you are currently using. You should be able to receive a link through your emails. All right, that's it, everybody. This has been your host, Red, reminding you na magpabakuna na. Join the 18-day campaign to end violence against women. Stay safe and take care. NOLITC Inspire, NOLITC Cares, Avance, Negrense.
Besh, nakabakuna ka na? Amligan ang ikaayong lawas, magpabakuna na para abanse ka.